Hello everyone, this is Unix back with another episode of Minecraft Simple Tips and Tricks. Today I'm going to be going over all the shortcuts and controls that you can do to manage your inventory. So I've listed here, I think, every possible control or shortcut that you can do on your inventory to make it easier to sort items and things like that. Alright, let's start with shift clicking, which I'm sure many of you know. But if, for example, you're looking at a chest and you hold shift and then left click, all the items will be sent to your hotbar or your inventory, whichever one is open first. Starts first with the hotbar. You can also use certain blocks like a furnace to automatically put it in the right slot. So, for example, fuel goes directly into the fuel slot, and things that can be smelted go into the smelting slot, which is pretty helpful. And also, when you open your inventory, shift clicking switches it back and forth between your hotbar and your inventory. And you can also shift click armor directly onto yourself. Another thing, if you have armor in your hotbar, you can actually just right click on it and it will automatically equip it, given that there's nothing in that armor slot. As I'm sure many of you know, if you press Q, you're going to drop whatever item you're holding. But what you might not know is that you can also do it from your inventory directly, like this. And another trick that you might not know is that you can also hold Control and then press Q, and it will drop the entire stack of items in your inventory. You can also do this by dragging whatever item you want outside of your inventory, and if you hold it, for example, and then you press right click, you're just going to be throwing out one at a time. One of the basic controls you can do in your inventory is splitting a stack in half. So if I open up my inventory and I press right click, it splits the stack in half and so on, and you can keep doing this. And one thing you might not know is that if you're handling a odd number of items in a stack, when you right click, the smaller amount will stay, and then you're going to be holding the larger amount. You can also use a similar move here to actually split a stack in more than halves, so maybe in thirds, fourths, and so on. So the way you do this is that whatever item you want to move about, you hold it, and then you hold down left click, and then you just drag it on your inventory, and you see it tries to make even stacks given the inventory slots that you're putting the items over. You can do a similar movement by instead of right clicking, and what we'll do is we'll just put one of that item in your inventory slot like this. And if you want to go back to having a full stack, instead of having to maybe like shift click each individual block here, what you can do is actually just double left click on any of this coal here, and all the coal will move into that stack. Another thing you might not know is you can actually move multiple stacks at once from inventories by grabbing an item, so just any item, it doesn't matter, and then pressing shift and then double left clicking. And so what this does is it moves all of that type of item back and forth. And this works in moving items from your hotbar to your inventory, like this, but unusually it doesn't seem to work the other way. As you probably know, pressing a number in your keyboard when you're just playing the game normally will switch to that item slot, but if you're in an inventory, then you can actually move items around. So for example, if I want to move my coal, which is in position number 1, to let's say this place, I just press 1 and it moves. I can also do this to actually switch items around. So if I press 2 here, it's going to switch the golden carrot stack and the gold ore stack around. This is also useful because you can do this in crafting inventory. So for example, I can press 7 here and have my coal be directly moved to that slot. Another quality of life control is using shift click to craft multiple items at once. So for example, if I want to craft oak planks, I could just go like this, but it would take forever. You can also instead just do shift click and it will craft everything that's possible with what you had in the crafting table as long as you have inventory space for it. Another trick you might not know but I've heard about is using the middle click to block pick something. So what I mean by that is that you're probably used to in creative, you can middle click something and it creates that block in your inventory for you to use. But this actually also works in survival given that you have that item in your hotbar. So what I mean by that is that I have here gold blocks in my position number 1 on my hotbar, and I can actually middle click on a gold block and it will move my selection to that position, which can be pretty helpful if you're like building and you want to switch blocks around really quickly and they're all in your hotbar. With the introduction of dual wielding in 1.9, you can also now put items in your offhand, and you can do this manually by using your inventory, but you can also do it directly from your hotbar by pressing F. And you can switch the items back. Additionally, you can use this F shortcut in your inventory as well, but unfortunately you can't move the item back by pressing F. You have to manually move it. And the final control that I found that is actually pretty obscure, and I wasn't even fully aware of this one existing, is that in creative, you can create multiple stacks of an item by doing a similar movement to before, but so you grab an item, and then you hold middle click and then you drag it around, and this will actually create stacks of 64 items for that block. So yeah, with those controls, you can hopefully become a Minecraft pro and do a lot of your common actions much more quickly and save a lot of time. Maybe for speedrunning, this is really helpful. In PvP fights, this can be very helpful. And just in your general everyday enjoyment of Minecraft, I think this makes life better. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.